In this video, we'll discuss how to predict the ions of ionic compounds that have polyatomic ions. In this example, we have ionic compounds and we need to predict the ions. Sodium chloride, well, that one's really simple, right? A positive for sodium, a negative for chlorine. But it's not always that easy. Some of these have polyatomic ions, so we need to identify the polyatomic ions. Remember, you have your polyatomic ion chart, so look through the chart to find the polyatomic ions in these compounds. First we have OH, NH4, and then we have SO4. So those are the three polyatomic ions. So we want to go ahead and plug those in, right? Because we know the formula in charge for each of those. Well, look at this, we're halfway finished just because we know the formula in charge of those polyatomic ions. Next, we'll take what we know, and that's bromine. We're always going to do the anions first because we know the anions. The cations are tricky because sometimes they have more than one possible charge. So now let's go ahead and look at the first example, FeOH3. We know there are 3 hydroxides and we know there's 1 iron. The charge of each one of these hydroxides is negative one, right? And there's 3 of them, so that's a -3. So what is the charge of iron? It's going to be 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. So the charge of iron is +3. This one was really nice because we were able to use the polyatomic ion and the charge of the anion. So that one is done for us. Now we just need to look at the last one. So we have SO4. We've got 2 of them. 1 manganese. Each sulfate is -2, so that's overall -4. So what's the charge of the manganese? Right, it's +4. So those weren't too bad. They get a little trickier. So what about this one? NH42S, CO3PO42. We've got a whole bunch of them here. Same strategy. Let's look at the polyatomic ions. So I've got this one and this one. These are our polyatomic ions right here. So let's plug those in first. And then let's do our anions. We know sulfide is -2. We know oxide is -2. We know fluoride is -1. So look at this. We are almost finished just because we were smart with our strategy. So now we have 3 cobalts and 2 phosphates. 2 phosphates, they're each -3, so that's -6 combined. So the overall charge of all of these cobalts has to be 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. There are 3 of these, so what's the charge of each? +2. 2, 4, 6. That gave us the 6 we were looking for. So our cation is CO2 positive. Okay, next. We have 3 oxygens and we have 2 manganese. -2, -2, -2, that gives us -6. So what's the overall charge of these 2 manganese? It's 6. Well, there's 2 of them. So each of these is +3. 3 plus 3 is 6. The final one, we have 5 fluorides, 1 vanadium. So -5 overall on the anion side. So what's the charge of vanadium? +5. Pretty simple, right?